Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. That's right, folks. Good afternoon to all of you, wherever it is that you may be. Thank you so much for joining us down here on the Wacana English Edition that you're watching on all of the platforms of sinardaily.my. My name is Meor Addelan and I'll be accompanying you for the next 1 hour, talking to you about the hottest topics that has been happening all around the nation. And for today, it is a definite special topic that we do want to share with you guys. It has something to do with what we are experiencing right now as well, as everyone may already notice that we're almost creeping into that first day of celebration, the first of Syawal, which is supposed to be coming in about 1 week's time or so. But then again, everyone can't forget that in this month, still in the month of Ramadan, there's a lot of things that needs to be done spiritually as well as on all other aspects as well. And one of the aspects that we want to highlight is that whether or not Ramadan, it is actually a feast or it is actually a waste for everyone. What do I mean by this is that because one of the struggles that every year that we discuss within the month of Ramadan is that the fighting the urge to splurge on food and drinks wherever it is that you may go, whether you might go to a Ramadan bazaar or a hotel, a buffet, or anywhere else, you tend to splurge a bit more. You tend to, follow your inner instinct and get that extra something without having the consequences, without having that, thinking that you might actually waste the food that you have taken. And yeah, do we even realize that? And funny thing is, let me share with you a bit of a statistics. Malaysia saw an increase of up to 21% of waste in the past 5 years. And our food waste increases annually, which is something obviously not very good. And why do we still waste food, especially during the month of Ramadan, where we should be more modest, where we should be living more in moderation? Hence why we want to speak about this topic. We want to talk about this topic very much. So we have 3 splendid guests that we have here together in the studio. Let me introduce to all of them. On my left, we have the CEO of KDEB Waste Management, Dato' Ramli Muhammad Tahir. We have in the middle our sole lady representative on the show today. We have Cik Ainul Ashara Kamal from MySaveFood Ramadan Secretary and Pemuda Gema KL Deputy Chairman. And last but not least, to my last guest on the far left, we have Encik Amril Ayat, Eco Knights Vice President. Assalamualaikum to all of our guests.
Waalaikumsalam.
How are you, Dato'? You're fine?
I'm fine, thank you.
You're looking gracious in the house. How's the 3 weeks of Ramadan treating you?
Well, it was fantastic. I thought that we just going to pass through Ramadan very quick this year around.
Very quick, right?
Very, very fast.
Yeah. And what about you, Chaino? How has the experience been?
Oh, it's hectic actually. I'm handling my seafood program. So yeah,
all right.
My schedule is packed.
Busy is good, I would say.
Yeah.
And I assume that you're busy as well, Chambril?
I am, and like Dato said, it seems that this month, like other months of Ramadan, is very fast.
It's very fast.
Yes.
Hence why we call it fasting. So that's a bit of a wordplay over there. All right, let's get into the whole conversation that we want to talk about in here. The first block that we want to bring to you is about the problem of food waste. I'm drawn to you first, Dato'. As mentioned at the start of the show, we see an increase of 21% of food wastage within the past 5 years. Now, we want that to happen in the rise of stocks. We want that to happen in the rise of our savings, but not in food wastage. How is this happening year on in regards of food wastage, Dato'?
Right, thank you, Mo. I mean, to be honest to you, Mo, I'm very, very sad with what will happen when we talk about food waste, particularly in this country, and what more if it is Selangor. Now we are talking about living in year 2023.
Yep.
People should be more concerned. They should be more broad-minded about how we should be able to save a lot, not only on food, not on our expenses. What more after pandemic too? For the past 2 years, it has been so tough and hard to certain people. But the problem about these people in this country, we have always been wrong perception when it comes to Ramadan in particular. Ramadan is the holy month of all months for our Muslim calendar. Now, a lot of people will say in Ramadan, we should be able to reduce our weight. And,
yes, people do look forward to Ramadan because of that. Actually,
but of course, from my point of view, we should be able to reduce our sins as well.
Yeah, of
so
course.
one of the best way to reduce our sin that we have to be very particular when it comes to having a feast or during the breakfast. You know, we are not facing Ramadan 30 days to have a full meal, complete package on the table on every day.
Correct.
We must think that Ramadan is not all about having a good meal on the table for the next 30 days. We should be able to think that if we can reduce our sins by putting more food to more table to more people, that will be more meaningful.
Yeah.
You know, we are talking about saving some food. What we do? We are fasting. We are hungry. We don't have our breakfast. If that a license for us to have more food during breakfast? No, it is not.
No.
You know, this is totally wrong. You know, when you have that desire, when you buy food at Bazaar Ramadan, you want to spend 20, 50 bucks. And when you bring home, you only eat probably about 10, 20 bucks only. The rest become waste and you're going to throw in the black bag. This doesn't make sense. I would rather having the special and all the simple the breakfast during iftar and allocate extra monies to feed the poor people, to feed the needed people. Maybe, my apology, maybe the B40 who love to have more food on their table. You know, for example, these are the things that when your desire manage to win your your composure during the fasting month in particular.
Yeah, there was even one report that's actually stated that at a wastage of 47,610 kilograms of food from Ramadan bazaars in KL and Putrajaya alone are being wasted every single day. And these numbers, apparently, they could actually feed for about 40,000 people. I mean, we're talking about a day here, not even a month or a week, a day. 47,000 kilograms of food is turned to waste.
Yeah. You know, we are managing close to 10,000 of bazaar Ramadan in the whole state of Selangor. Selangor is the most populated state in the whole country. They have probably 2 million taxpayers, 6.5 million people who are live and staying and working here in Selangor. Can you imagine, you know, every day we are collecting in excess of food waste from all this bazaar, close to 100 ton per day. You know, you were mentioning about number 40,000 people that can be fed with this the food. You know, it's amazing. And what a waste that we are talking about. You know, we are talking about helping this country into another level. But we can't control our desire. We are still talking about wastage, not only wastage of human being, wastage of food, which is you know, some people, they are dying to have food, and yet we are just take it lightly. We have got to change this, Meor.
Yeah, it's about perception. And Cik Amril, I'm drawn to you right now because it's all about awareness, isn't it? Like what Dato has mentioned, is how a person is being brought up. Malaysians, how we were brought up. I remember when I was a child, you know, my father, you know, we used to have, you know, big dinners kind of a thing because celebration goes to bazaar and whatnot, because it doesn't matter what kind of social stature that you're in, it's in your blood. It is the Malaysian way. And unfortunately, it's the wrong way right now. Cik Amril.
Yes, I agree with you and also agree with Dato'. The amount of food that we are consuming right now is very, very huge in terms of per capita. I remember when I was very young, every time I eat...
Which you're still young, actually. So,
Thank you very much. Very younger, much younger.
Much younger.
Yes. Whenever I had my rice, my mother will tell me, don't you ever leave a single rice because that rice will cry. Will cry. So I have adopted that mentality. So this is what is wrong with Malaysians right now. It's about mentality, and it's something really challenging to change. We need to really change this, but it will take time. Malaysians, they love food. So 1 month Ramadan is for them, for a lot of them, is not having food, and they love food. So when it comes to breakfast or Hari Raya, they will replace that food lost during that 1 month. So the 1 month Syawal is actually the time to replace all the food gone.
Basically,
this is the mentality.
I mean, like whatever it is that you've not eaten or able to eat within the last 30 days, and
Yes.
it's time for you to wall up it one time.
Yes, this is the mentality. When actually Ramadan is for you to actually not replace anything, you have to reduce. Like Datuk said, we have to reduce. And yet, what do you see? More garbage. I'm not sure about KDEB, but I heard a friend from Alam Flora told me the most food waste produced is during the fasting month, which is really strange because we are supposed to reduce the amount.
Because funny enough, when you talk about this, because how does food wastage happen? It's obviously when consumers go out, when they spend money on things. And people know that right now, we as a country, Malaysia, we are actually facing quite of a financial, I wouldn't say crisis, but financial issues. A lot of things that we had to, hold back a bit in regards of whatever it is, in regards of spending, in regards of economy, and so on and so forth. But yet these wastage or this extra spending is still happening. I know why, to your opinion. Yeah.
Okay, my personal opinion, we all have hearts.
Of
And we all have hearts, and we normally follow what our hearts want. So, I also think that due to low financial literacy among our citizens, so it might give some impact in terms of their prioritizing their money and the food that they wanted to eat. So, I guess, it's about attitude also and the level of awareness and like appreciating the food that they have by using the money that they have to. So, that's one. It just reflects the attitudes and the knowledge level in terms of financial literacy.
So all of our panel actually agrees. It comes back to the attitude, the upbringing, the perception, as what Dato' has mentioned earlier on the show, is how we have been taught and how we have been brought up in that sense. And it's really hard for us to remold that particular perception into a new one until something drastic actually happens. Now, coming back to Dato', I do want to ask you, from your knowledge, with KDEB, where does the most wastage come from? Is it actually from the bazaar, from the buffets, from the hotels, from wherever? Do you have data or some numbers to share with us on that?
Well, it depends on from which angle you are looking at.
Okay.
But I strongly believe that it can come from anywhere. It can come from bazaar, it can come from the buffet hotel, it can come from the housing estate as well.
Right.
It can come from the people who are staying in the big bungalow. It can come from it can come from surau. It can come from masjid. It can come from people who are staying and living in condominium, even strata.
Okay.
So my evaluation is very simple. I thought a lot of people has failed in managing their time during Ramadan when it comes to the breakfast, iftar, or food in excessive way. Because of they failed to adhere to this philosophy, I summarize it in PODC, planning. We should be able to plan what do we want to eat, what do we want to sell at the bazaar, what do we want to get for the family today. We should be able to plan it. We should be able to plan that even though we only have a small korma during sahur, but during for 9-10 hours we can still running, and we don't have to compensate it back during after iftar with the heavy, roast lamb, biryani, whatsoever, roti john, fried chicken, whatsoever.
Yeah, you're making us hungry right now.
I tell you, we should be able to plan. Then we should be able to organize ourselves, the family, our office mate, colleague, staff, organize things. We should be able to save a lot of money, and this extra money should be given to the needy, to the poor people. And then we should be able to direct ourselves to control and be composed. The desire, like China was mentioning, we always follow heart. But we are going to die, and if most of the time we follow our hearts, because our heart cannot connect between the right and wrong as compared to our brain. So you must ensure that our brain will be able to control our heart. Then we got plan, we got organize, we direct. Then we can control the whole scenario. When it comes to Ramadan, whether you're going to spend a lot of money, become a feast or become a waste, with this all this way coming from the bazaar, this way is coming from the hotel. Everybody are responsible to this the own circular. Like people, if you sure you should be able to sell 100 packs, 200 packs for this bazaar tonight.
Yeah.
You should be able to draw the line. But if you want to be rich faster during the fasting month, you're going to sell maybe 500. And as a matter of fact, you know that there are other bazaar stores probably selling the same stuff, the same food.
Yeah.
Then at the end of the day, they only left 200 left behind, and you have to throw it. You're going to call for Saturday, Sunday for big iftar at the surau at the mosque. You should be able to confirm how many people should be able to come.
Yeah.
You're not going to spend 1,000 packs, and at the end of the day, only 500 people turn out. That's only probably a waste, Same goes to the people who are going to buy food at home.
Yeah.
If you promise your children to come and have the breakfast together with you, and you buy like the whole big kanduri, at the end of the day, it's going to be a waste.
Yeah. And Cik Amril, because at the end of the day, as what Dato has mentioned as well, it's all about planning. But the thing is, there will be no production should there's no demand. And what I think you have mentioned as well, Cik Eno has actually mentioned as well, it is customary every Ramadan, the bazaar is the go-to place. Unfortunately, it's not the mosque, it's actually the bazaar that people think of during Ramadan. I wouldn't say all, but yeah, some people. I need to correct that. But yeah, when there's demand of that, hence why people create more, they produce more, and they would want to give that opportunity to the public to buy their food and whatnot without realizing that a lot of wastage could happen and has happened, as we have seen from the numbers 5 years ago. And you can't really blame the food vendors on this.
Well, I think the food vendors, they survive because of our demand.
Uh-huh.
We demand it, so they produce it.
Yeah.
But if we consumers, we put some borders to our consumption patterns and also how much we want to spend, then at the end of the day, they will have to reduce. This is what I say, consumers have the power. They have the ability to change things. But in the first place, can we change the behavior of the consumers? When consumers themselves, the more food they see, the more they want to buy.
Yeah.
It's not that, okay, I'm coming here, I just want to buy this and this and that. No, they come in, what should I buy?
Yeah.
So from the beginning of the bazaar till the end, they will buy 50% of the food from the bazaar. That's what's good, this is what is nice, and then I got 10 people in my house, so everybody, I will buy 10 of this, 10 of... It's not 10 of this for everybody, 10, no. You just need to buy two, because if you buy 10, then there will be extra food, believe me, and that is what's happening.
But you only have good intentions, I know, because you're thinking about your family at home. It's not wrong, right?
I think like Dato said, we have to differentiate between emotions, yes, desire, and rationale.
Yeah.
So
how do you differentiate that, Chainul? It's hard.
I think
Speaking
because
from experience,
I think because I've worked with MySaveFood for 2 years for now. So like I've been on site, I've looked at those excessive food, and then we send it to those people who needs it. There are some people who we send directly to their homes. These are people who have single mothers or OKU. So whenever they receive it, you feel a bit touched.
Okay.
Make you feel a bit sad because we can afford those food and they cannot. They cannot. So for me, every time I will choose only one meal to eat after iftar. If I have only bubur, I will eat bubur. If I only have one cake, then I will eat that one cake because our stomach capacity is also limited.
Yeah.
Okay, we are not going to replace those meals that we didn't have during the day, right?
Yeah.
We are not going to replace the breakfast, lunch, tea time. No. This Ramadan is a holy month, just now, right? Dato mentioned. So for me, it's a month for you to reflect and reset. So it's a month for you to moderate and renew your niyat, renew your habits and create new awareness, especially in terms of managing your consumption of food.
And being in the line that you're in right now, specifically to you, Chai, I know you've seen this waste a lot as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like how when you see it's not just contributed by the vendors, it's also contributed by households, by hotels and everything. It does create a bit of a domino effect in regards of our own lifestyle, our taking care of the environment as well, the cost that comes with it as well. A lot of things needs to be considered to handle this wastage?
So the domino effect, yeah. Starting from the business provider, the business owner, the restaurants, I do understand that they want to make their restaurants or hotels or buffet to be lively, to attract people to eat more. But sometimes I feel that the cost that they're charging us
Yeah.
is too much, It's too much. I didn't agree about that. It's like we're paying the food to waste the food actually. So in terms of that idea, we should urge the business owner, the restaurants, to monitor their fans, the fans of food, their maximum customers of the day probably, so that they will plan very carefully and not to waste so
Yeah.
much food for the day or like for a month.
What was your acronym again, Datuk, just now? What was your
What is that?
PODC,
Got to
planning?
plan, got to
Organize.
got to direct ourselves to control the emotional, and we've got to control the community.
All right, PODC. Yeah, those are, sacred letters that you can actually take to heart when it comes to really planning your iftar. Not just for iftar, actually, for your whole lifestyle, actually. Lots more to discuss down here with our lovely guests, but we're going to take a short break. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us here on Wacana English Edition.
For next gen, basically our vision is for families to come here and they create happy memories together as well as one. Because it's a whole family theme park, one thing. And also, this is one of the largest indoor theme park. It's about 43,000 square feet.
Wow, that's big.
This is our main one attraction. This is a Ninja Challenge.
Thank you so much for staying on here with us on Wacana English Edition, where we're talking about Ramadan. Is it a feast or is it a waste? We're still about 4 hours away until iftar. Do not worry. You still have a lot of time to go to your favorite bazaar or to visit that famous restaurant or go to that fancy hotel to, to break your fast with your families and friends. But we're here to educate you, or should I say advise you, with our lovely panels to talk about how it can actually be a waste, how it is actually a waste right now when it comes to the delicacies that we are able to, enjoy, unfortunately, in the month of Ramadan. So, food waste. We are talking about food waste here, and Dato, I want to ask to you first. As people think about food waste, all they think about is that I finish whatever it is that I've eaten. I may have not finished it. It's in my plate. I'll just go to the garbage bin. I'll empty my plate and I'll wrap up the plastic bag and I'll throw it outside the house. And then tomorrow, the guy with the big lorry who's going to pick up all of the trash will come and pick it up. And that's basically end of my problem. So the question is that what actually happens to those plastics in those bins that has been collected by the council and by the parties who are responsible for this? What actually happened to these bags?
Right. This is our bread and butter. This is our business. We are being entrusted and empowered to collect the whole domestic waste in the whole state of Selangor. We have got 1,100 lorry to do all this job. So we are running around from Shah Alam, PJ, Kota Damansara, Selayang, Semenyih, Kuala Selangor, Hulu Selangor, Sabak Benam, those Selangor. 3 times a week, we got to collect this waste. This black bin in front of your house, my house, everyone's house, So in this black bag, it coming from the kitchen for all residents. Normally, it will be a commingled waste. There's a plastic, there's a papers, there's a bottle, PP, HDPE, and there are food as well.
Yeah, food waste. Yeah,
food waste. So there's nothing much we can do because it's already mixed up, commingled. We collect from the bins, we dump it in our compactor, and it has to be compacted.
Okay.
When compacted, one is fill up, probably 2,500 houses, 500 shops per day. Then going to send it direct to the landfill, which is located in Bukit Taga, Jeram, or even Tanjung 12.
Okay.
And we will open up the tailgate and dump it at the landfill. So that we at the landfill, there is a mixture of waste, excesses of food waste, papers, probably plastic, any other extra waste. That's it. And it has to be buried at the landfill because this is the only way of how we dispose the waste in Selangor, in particular nowadays.
Okay.
Well, how I wish if there are some material that can be recovered from this waste. We were probably talking about food before it come to the compactor or before it end up in the plastic bag.
In the plastic bag, yeah.
The plastic bag, it can be, give to the needy, to the poor people, who, whatever it is. And probably the plastic can be taken back, and we can recycle it, we can reuse it, we can transform it to biodiesel, for example, that can be sold and used to any other industry.
Yeah.
So this is the thing how we treat at the moment.
At the moment.
Because we are talking about domestic waste.
Yeah, domestic
because
waste.
we have got 7,000 tons of waste that need to be collected every day.
700 tons.
7,000 tons.
7,000 tons.
7,000 tons. It's 7,000 tons,
Okay.
via this 1,100 lorry that we have. So we have got a mountain task to do it. 365 days. Food waste, if it is not be collected for 2 days or even 3 days, the maggot will start coming out. And there's no to it.
There's no no to it. Something has to be done. And from your establishment, from your organization, it is your duty to actually collect it and put it in the landfill. My question is to you, Cik Amril. Anything else that we can do of this waste? Dato' has actually mentioned talking about biogas, biodiesel or whatever, but any other things, to your opinion, to your expertise, that can be done with these kind of wastes?
Okay, a lot of this waste, especially food waste, can be composted actually. And personally, that's what I do. Behind my house, there is a small forest. Sometimes if the waste is not much, I will simply throw my food waste behind. And after a few years, in fact, after a few months, I can see a lot of trees growing.
Okay.
Because, preferably you are not supposed to throw your waste
Simply
in form of the person.
Yes,
dispose it. But normally what I throw away is the greens, the vegetables, the fruits, which can decompose quickly and doesn't give bad odor to everybody.
But I don't think you can do that if you're living in a condominium of 25 floors now.
Not condominium. Not condominium. But even if you live in condominium, you can actually collect your leftovers and then turn them into compost.
Okay.
Or perhaps like our friend said, you can, when you have food which is still very good, you can donate this food to the needies. And I think, but the first thing that we need to do is to try to minimize, or better still, to consume wisely. I am quite reluctant to use the word minimize, because it gives you an indication that you should not eat a lot. You should not eat. Try, if you have to drink 1 liter of water, try to reduce. No, when I say wise consumption, if you have to drink 1 liter, then you drink 1 liter, not less, not more. So that is the best way of doing things. And this is what we have to inform Malaysians. How much do you need? Only use what you need when you need it. That is sustainable. That is Madani.
And one of the ways, as what you are doing, Cik Eno, is that giving it out to the needy, giving it out to the ones who are not as grateful, or should I say as we are normal to actually purchase this kind of food. But then again, when you talk about food waste, it's another story. It's not something that you just give out just like that. You can't give out a half-eaten drumstick or a half-eaten rice to people. So like from your establishment, from your organization, how do you do it to manage this issue about food waste?
So first of all, MySaveFood is collecting a surplus food. food
Okay.
that is not touchable yet,
Okay.
food that is extra, those food that is not being sold. So we, MySaveFood, we choose a bazaar, and then we inform them. So we collect those food that are not being sold after iftar.
Do
So
you still have to pay?
no, we don't
No.
have to. We
Okay.
just ask them, ask
The
the
vendors?
sellers, the
Yeah.
vendors, if they agree to give us, and they can give us if they have extra. We do not push them. We do not force them.
Okay.
Okay. And after we collect that, we will weigh and record, and then we will start to repack. For depends on who will be the receiver. So because some of it we will send it to the mosque, to the community hall, and some to directly to their homes. And after we repack, we put a sticker. Sticker just to mention, just a reminder for them to check the food before they consume it, to feel it, smell and see it first, and then please consume within 2 hours after
Within
they
2
receive
hours
it.
after receive it.
Yes. So that is what we do.
Yeah.
So it's been this is the 7th year we conduct MySaveFood.
And that definitely helps in regards of lowering the wastage of food, because at the end of the day, should your organization, should your cause does not happen more often or not, all of this waste, all of this extra food which is not being eaten, which is not being sold, will then go to the bin, goes to the trash, and being left, or like Dato' was said, buried under mountains and mountains of hills. 7,000 kilograms of waste.
1,000 tons.
7,000. I still no, the number is so huge. I'm still like confused when listening. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 7,000 tons of waste being collected every day, and it is a monumental task, whatever it is that KDB is actually doing. Now, you mentioned earlier that biodiesel could be a product of food waste or these kind of waste. Is it something that Malaysia is practicing right now, or is it something that is in the works? Where are we now in regards of that? Because that sounds quite lucrative.
Yeah, first and foremost, now we are talking about 7,000 tons of waste in a daily basis in Selangor itself.
In Selangor only.
For domestic waste.
Yeah.
But for the whole country, we are talking probably about close to 35,000 tons of waste. Really.
Wait, for the whole country, it's 35,000.
Yeah.
Selangor contributes
7,000 tons.
Okay, that's
for
not a good
domestic
percentage
waste,
then.
okay? Because we have got 6.5 million
Oh
people.
yeah, because we got
Yeah,
more people.
we got
Yeah,
more
exactly.
people.
Yep.
Now, what happened is that now all this waste, most of the time, it is being collected and sent to the landfill, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now we have to change this, because landfill. Talking about landfill, once we dump this waste in the landfill, that's it. It will fill up the land. They probably take maybe 5 to 7 years before it has been filled up. And maybe after 6 years, at the rate of we are going now, the rate of we are collecting waste from the public, from Selangor, this land probably can last for maybe about 6 to 7 years only. And that requires 100 to 150 acres of land to be gazetted as a landfill.
Wow.
So for how long are we going to run away for from residential area to make a landfill? Because normally landfill, they're going to create landfill at the end of the corner of this state.
Yeah.
We used to close many landfills in Selangor, and yet we are still opening a new landfill. Now, having said that, this is no longer sustainable in this business. So we have got to think beyond this. We have got to see the latest technology. Because this 7,000 ton of waste, of course, it is a waste.
Yeah.
But we can churn and transform it into money. For example, if we're going to incinerate this way, it should be able to generate heat. The heat can boil water. Water can produce steam. Steam can run turbine. Turbine can produce electricity.
Yep.
And the electricity can be generated and can be channeled up to the whole resident, or even to log in at TMB plant, for example. And 90% of waste end up at the plant, at the WTE, waste energy plant. And only probably 10% the residual, which require to be sent to the landfill. We save land. We create energy. We discharge a proper waste disposal for the whole lot, for example. We have to think along that line. Either we're going to process it, become into byproduct, and maybe we're talking about refuse derived fuel, Maybe we are talking about biodiesel, the liquid, the kind of thing. Or maybe the most important thing is we are not dumping it at the landfill.
Yeah.
Now, for how long, for how many years this country has been relying on the landfill?
Because again, as what you said, 7 years is not a long time. Shoot, you are actually filling up those landfills within those 7 years. We're not even talking about the lifestyle of our children. It's still our lifestyle, our life that we're going to be experiencing that. Because again, we're living now in the year 2023. We're not living back in the 1980s or 60s or 70s, Jamril. Technology definitely is there. A lot of things that can be done when it comes to, converting or trying to make do with all of this food waste in trying to make it, somehow rather able to actually cater it back to the people. That's definitely in line. And what are the kind of technologies that is, implementable, apart from what Dato has actually mentioned?
Okay, apart from biogas, I think the other technology which can be implemented in Malaysia is the incinerator. A lot of people now, the problem with incinerator is that there is certain opposition towards the technology.
Okay.
However, incinerator, if managed and maintained properly, I think it can contribute a lot to the reduction and also the management, sustainable management of waste in Malaysia. I think it can be done, and we have seen it being conducted, being carried out in many other countries, and we have to make sure. Now the problem in Malaysia is that a lot of people are worried about Malaysian mentality when it comes to maintenance. It's not the incinerator itself. It's the question of, can Malaysians do this or not? Can they maintain the thing or not?
I mean, we're great at coming up with ideas, but to implement it and to maintain it is another story.
Yes, I remember there was this one phrase by a popular Malaysian politician who said that Malaysia has first-class infrastructure but third-class mentality. So this is the problem with Malaysia. I remember I was driving my friend from Germany or Denmark, I cannot remember, and we went to KL, and he saw this KLCC, and he said, "Wow, you are way richer than us," when they are actually more developed. So that's their. But they know that mentality-wise, they look at the streets. Why do you have garbage on the streets and yet you have beautiful, expensive buildings?
Yeah.
And it really puts me into an embarrassing point.
Okay, yeah, it's actually because again, I concur with you in that sense. Yeah, I mean, like, we come up with great ideas, we come up with great solutions. We're trying to implement all these kind of things, but somehow or other we're stuck at gear number 2. We're not really, fully buying into it.
It's the mentality,
It's the
mentality. We are trying to go. Okay, in European countries or even in Japan, they have to go certain stages before they reach the level that we are seeing now. Standard 1, Standard 2, Standard 3. In Malaysia, we want to follow the European countries. We want to jump to Standard 6. No, the mentality is still there. So what do we need to do? We have to start from the beginning, not the second primary school, but from the preschool.
From the preschool, from the start, actually. So
from the start.
I think it's best to ask you, I know because of all 4 of us, you're the youngest of all of us. So maybe representing the younger crowd, how do you think? How would the mentality, how are we able to actually change this?
Okay.
That's a long sigh there.
Yeah. Because it takes a lot of hard work, actually. And okay, I keep it simple. Please join us as volunteer in MySaveFood program. We are trying to expand MySaveFood, and we are trying to be present in all bazaar, inshallah. And this year, actually, we achieved 58 locations around Malaysia. And compared to before this, we only started with 1 bazaar, which is Kampung Baru, and then we achieved 19 bazaar. So this year, it's like more people are collaborating with us. So more people are getting to know more about MySaveFood program.
Because seeing is believing, isn't it?
Yeah. Because you will see how many food we are actually wasting it.
Okay. Just share with our audience. I mean, when you say that there's a lot of food that is being wasted at one bazaar, just paint us that picture. How much is it?
All right.
I mean, if you want to talk about containers, I mean, something to compute.
Okay, if normal days, when I mean normal days, it's shine and bright days. People will come to bazaar.
Yep.
But
non-rainy days.
Yeah, non-rainy days. We still end up with 50 to 100 kg.
50 to 100 kilograms of
Food and
non-bought
drink.
food.
Yep, food and
Okay.
drinks.
Food and drinks.
Yes.
Okay.
And for rainy days, sometimes it will reach to 300 kg.
And that's for one site,
Yes, for one bazaar.
for one bazaar.
Yeah, and it depends on the size of the bazaar actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see Dato is like, yeah, that's the story. It is your guys. Yeah, sorry. I know, go ahead.
So we feel responsible to save those food, and because we know to whom we are going to give it to, right? So yeah, so please join us.
Yeah, again, I mean, like, it's all, as cliche as it may sound, it all starts from the beginning. But that's all that we have been seeing for the past 10 years. I remember having this conversation when I was still in primary school, where they promote, like cleanliness and don't be a wasteful person, those kind of things. But, fast forward X amount of years, I'm not disclosing how old I am, but yeah, forwarding that, we're still having this conversation. It's a never-ending topic, Dato.
Yeah. Well, we have to learn from the neighboring country, the closer one. I can quote in Singapore. Where was Singapore like 20, 30 years ago as compared to us? And where are Singapore now as compared to us? I thought that this country has been built through multiple racial social interaction with a good foundation, philosophy, but a strong government. And but then again, some people thought that they take it lightly. Whatever policy, the new policy which is trying to be deployed and implemented by the government, which is to be taken now. And the simplest thing I can show, for example, here in this country, people would love to generate waste. Would they generate waste like nobody business? Their house, their office, their school. But when it comes to the cleanliness, to dispose it, they can dispose it anyway. Because the rule of thumb as if like, okay, I can generate waste. I want to have my house clean, my office clean. But when it comes to disposal, they even push the bins to other side of the road. They even push for example, I always quote this. You see, I always try to look at people's behavior. You drive around and fill up your gas at the petrol pump. Then while you're filling up the gas, what do you see? Normally people will open the door and clean up their car
floor.
Their car floor. They take out all this, sweet papers, wrappers, and throw it at the petrol pump bins. Hello, excuse me, this is your waste. Why you want to give your way to the petrol pump operator? I always quote, I used to have my daughter in one boarding school. So every weekend, the parent will come over and bring pizza, boxes of KFC, fried chicken, whatever. One fine day, this lady come and tell everyone, excuse me, my name is so-and-so. I'm the principal of this school. This is my school. I'm very happy to see the parents having me with the daughters.
But bring your trash home with you. Don't leave it here.
Yes, don't leave your trash here in my school. It costs me extra money to do the cleanup. You see all the bins fill up full. So since then, we bring our boxes, pizza, then we take it back.
Then we take it back home. It's all about the mentality. It's all about the ideology. This is getting hot, the discussion, when Dato is actually quite well invested in this. But we do have to take a short break for our last block. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us here. And be in this conversation here on Wacana English Edition. Don't go anywhere.
Sinar Daily is at Splash Mania Gamuda Cove, the new water theme park that just opened.
Hope you're enjoying your day so far. This prosperous Friday, coming to you live here from sinardaily.my, together with us here on Wacana English Edition. Yes, we are talking about Ramadan feast or waste, together with three of our great panels over here. But right now, we do want to open up to the floor. We do have some questions on the floor. Fellow panelists, feel free to pick up this question. We have, please introduce yourself and your question to which panel. Please.
Hello. Assalamualaikum. My name is
Waalaikumsalam.
Afif. And I'm actually very interested with the discussion that we are having here. And as I think is very important.
Yep, come closer to the mic, yeah?
Yeah, sorry. So, and then I was also fascinated by the point that Dato was saying about PODC. And I think I learned a lot about it, a lot from it. And it opened up my mind a bit. And I think it answered a lot of my question. However, my question is, in terms of food waste, how does it impact environmental in Ramadan compared to other months? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. How does the food wastage impact in the month of Ramadan in comparison to Zulhijjah, Zulqa'edah, all the other months? So we're talking about the Islamic month, obviously. I'm drawn to you, Dato', because you are the one responsible to collect 7,000 tons. I'm getting that number correct right now, Dato', please.
Yeah, thank you. Well, as I said earlier, we have got the wrong perception by the people in this country, in particular in Selangor, because we always want to have good food and extra food in the month of Ramadan.
Yeah.
We always want to buy a lot of stuff, say, in bazaar, in shops, whatever it is, and to bring back home or to have it in surau, masjid, or even at the office. Now, if that, based on our record for the past 3 weeks, it seems that almost every single day, it shows that there is an increase of excess food, which is being dumped at the bazaar. And of course, at our own housing the area.
Is it Ramadan specific?
In Ramadan.
Yeah, because of the bazaar, right? Because of the emergence of the bazaar.
And of course, because of our lovely wife, our lovely mother at home, they're cooking extra.
Okay.
But then again,
be careful what you say with wives and mothers.
Okay. And it's good. I mean,
of course.
But then good intention doesn't permit good action. They want to jamu, they want to feed us with the good meals.
Yeah.
But sometimes when it's too much,
it can be too much.
It can be too much, and we cannot take it, and it becomes a waste at the bin at the kitchen. And by the next day, it will be thrown out, and then we will have to collect it. And this is not good because we have to collect it and send it, commingle waste, dump it at the landfill the next day. With this so-called bio food, like food waste, it will trigger become more to generate methane gas. Sooner or later at the landfill. Methane is very harmful.
Yeah, correct.
We are talking about probably 28 times more harmful than the normal carbon.
But the number, the percentage, does it subside come Syawal or months after Ramadan?
It's almost there.
Okay.
It's almost there. We are talking about a 48% increase of food waste as compared to last year. An increase from 21%, now about 48%, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And we have to deal with it. What a waste of money.
Okay.
And what from the waste itself, in which we can save it, we can turn into money, we can extend the aid to the needy one rather than you end up at the landfill or in KDB lorry.
Definitely. All right. We are going back to the floor because, we have a second question from the crowd. Yes, please introduce yourself, come a bit closer to the mic and address your question, please.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
I have one question for Dato' Haji Ramli. So my question is, what will your company's strategy be to reduce wastage in Selangor for next Ramadan? Thank you.
Chino, what will your strategy be? To
Dato'.
I heard that.
to Dato', is it? Sorry.
I heard that.
Yeah, okay.
I say it can, it's no problem.
Well, I don't think she can answer in behalf of KDB.
Well, for the next Ramadan, we are talking about in a year time.
Yeah. Obviously, you have plans.
Yeah, okay. Well, of course, it to be make it very short and precise. I would urge the whole people in Selangor. We have to think twice. We have to think about others. We have to treat Ramadan a special month in a different way. Beginning next year, if we fail this year, doesn't mean we're going to fail next year. Now with the proper plan, please, father, mother, children, whoever it is who's running the household, please, when it comes to Ramadan, we are not only have to do all the good stuff, but when it comes to treatment of food, waste also, we have got to do it in a better way.
In a better way.
Don't waste. Just buy whatever you want to have. Make it very minimal.
Yeah.
Say you're going to spend 100 ringgit.
It's all about in moderation.
In moderation.
In moderation. That's the key word, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I would love for every single house in Selangor in particular, if they have to eat, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But probably when during Ramadan, probably we can only eat maybe 30% only.
Yeah.
The balance 70%, why not we spend and we keep it very minimal. The 70%, the budget, we give away to the needy ones.
To the needy
which
ones,
is
the ones
more
who-
meaningful. Then we can avoid all this wastage.
Yeah. We do have another question that we can go to the floor. But before we actually go back to the floor, I do want to ask Encik Amril, because what excited me, what Dato' has actually mentioned in regards of the production of the methane gas that is being produced from all of this waste. And is there any number that you can share on how the increase of this methane gas is being released in public and how dangerous it can actually be, or it is already?
I think as far as I know, the figures that I've seen before, whose numbers I cannot really recall, the amount of methane gas and other greenhouse gases are increasing because of not only the food wastage but also due to the industrial activities and the deforestation happening in the country.
Yeah.
So as we can see, and we can check out some of the annual reports from the government or even from the Department of Statistics, we have not yet reached the figure which is expected from the international agreements that we have attended before. So this is something that we need to focus. And one of the ways that we can achieve this is try to look for good strategies to reduce our food consumption, because the consumers, we have like 30 million people eating a lot of food every day. If we can reduce even 5% of this wastage, then I'm sure we can see something, we can see a difference.
It's all about the mentality at the end of the day.
Yes.
That's what we have been talking
Yes,
since
I agree.
minute number one when we talk about this
You
topic.
know, sometimes when I WhatsApp my friends, text them, what are you having today for sahur? Nasi goreng je, only nasi goreng. Yes, why? Because je means what? Sikit, there are people who do not eat. You feel bersyukur, gratitude. You should, I have nasi goreng.
Yeah. You should see with more enthusiasm.
Nasi
I'm having
kandar
nasi
je,
goreng today.
So this is a mentality. Sikit
The mentality.
Yes,
Yeah.
mentality.
Well, I only have, a glass of Milo je, during sahur. But then again, that's just me. We want to go back down to the floor. There's another question from our live audience. Please introduce yourself and address your question to the panel, please. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
My name is Amalia. I want to ask in aspect of university students, as we know that for the upcoming Syawal, they will have any kind of celebration conducted in the university. So if there are any volunteering or whatever programs allocated youth to join in order to raise the fees or waste awareness. Thank you.
Okay. I think Cik Aino can answer this.
She mentioned about Syawal, is it?
Yeah, because
Okay.
like moving into the Syawal, moving into Syawal month, is there any initiative?
Particularly in Syawal, we do not proceed with MySaveFood program.
Okay.
Because we are, because many
Busy
people
beraya
are
maybe,
having
okay.
holiday, right?
Yeah,
So
okay.
the arrangement of volunteers also are very difficult at that moment lah. So for me, I think we should focus on Ramadan because when the awareness has been instilled in Ramadan,
Yep.
it should follow for the next months.
Alright.
You see? Yeah, it should be like that.
Alright.
So particularly for the moment, we do not have any plans for MySaveFood to proceed in other months.
Yeah.
But we do considering some requests from hotels or restaurants, but it's still in a discussion.
Yeah.
So
So
we still cannot reveal
it
it
needs a
yet.
specific kind of campaign
No.
should you want to run together with my seafood
My
moving forward
seafood currently only exists during Ramadan.
for Ramadan?
Because
And-
we are aiming to bazaar because we know that the amount of waste spike so high in Ramadan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we're trying to like cut it into half like that.
Understand. Okay. Perhaps there could be more opportunity for my safe food to run not just for Ramadan but for any other months. Collaboration as you mentioned with restaurants, with hotels, with food vendors and whatnot moving forward, and also giving it to the needy as well. That would be something that I would believe that you are very much in communication and discussion with all of the parties involved. Moving on with our discussion, we do have a bit more time. We want to talk about how this wastage is giving an impact, a bad impact to the environment, to Malaysia. We are not that big of a country. We are not that huge like the US or China or even like Japan or even Thailand, our neighbors. But we cannot let it slip in regards of how things can actually affect our environment. And food wastage, Dato', is definitely one of it. If we do not control it as proper, it could contribute to the downfall of our environment. Elaborate on that, Dato'.
Yeah, indeed. I would definitely agree with your points, because at the end of the day, we must realize where this waste is coming from. I mean, where this waste coming from? It's all coming from us. So it has to be stopped and manned properly before it end up at the landfill. So, for example, if we could be able to create more awareness to the whole people, to the whole lot in Selangor, in Malaysia, so definitely people will start thinking, look, there is a sensitivity when we do not want to finish our meals and it become an excessive waste. And we knew that once it put in a KDB compactor and we end up at the landfill, and it will stimulate the process of creating a methane gas. And what is methane gas? Methane gas is so harmful, 28 times more than carbon dioxide, for example. So we have to ensure that a lot of people are fully aware about responsibility, about character, those people who are born in Singapore, in Japan, or even in Europe, in Germany. The sensitivity of them when it comes to how do they supposed to treat this waste. Now, it's like a cowboy. People just do whatever they want to do. And we have to start talking to our friend was mentioning earlier, Ambre was mentioning earlier, from the preschool. From the primary school, secondary, even at the university level, to treat this waste as money. It's money. I don't think we want to throw our money. If we treat this waste, food, as money, I don't think we want to throw it.
That's one of the ways that we can raise the awareness. As what you, Cik Amri, has actually pointed out earlier. You could actually implement a lot of, education at a very younger level. But what are the other things that you could actually do to raise that awareness? Higher fines, putting all of these culprits in the lockup to show them, to teach them a bit about responsibilities. What would you think?
I think apart from education, perhaps bazaars or maybe the media should play a very important role in disseminating the information about this. I can see that one of the toughest tasks is to get the public to be involved in reducing their or consuming wisely. With the kids, perhaps we can plan something at the school level, at the preschool or the primary level, to be wise consumers. That's why recently when the Minister of Education mentioned that they are not going to review the education system, I highlighted a bit of disagreement. I said we should look back at the system of our educational system, so that we'll be able to achieve that falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan or the national philosophy of education, which is aiming at balancing between the rational and emotional and mentality and physical of the individuals, so that they can make the right decision. So when it comes to consumerism, for example, in terms of food, they can make the best decision. And this has to start at the school level. But for the public, we need a greater test. And we have to go for the media, where the media or either we are talking about the electronic media or the printed media, where the people can be exposed more creatively and innovatively. We need all these new school youth to come up with good TikToks, with good YouTube, and also video clips, so that we can attract people and make people see from the different point of view the goodness of wise consumerism.
I mean, literally speaking the language of the youngsters
Yes.
for them to able to consume that information
Yes.
much easier and for them to adapt a bit better. And for you, I know, what would your advice be then to all these TikTokers? Well, you look like a TikToker. I don't know. I'm just making an assumption of you. What would your
Oh my
advice be then
God.
to
Okay.
fellow Malaysians out there? Because the fact that you've been on ground zero, you know, looking at all this wastage happening, what would your advice be then to the public?
Okay. Number one, please have self-control. Self-control, not only during Ramadan, also for other months also. And number two, please do not, please start to appreciate your food, your money. And for me, I was a volunteer also for MySaveFood program. I would like to invite you all to join us, because I think when you are on site, you will understand why we need to reduce the food waste. Okay, because as Datuk mentioned just now, the food waste is causing our landfill to be filled very rapidly, right? And also the production of methane gas. Methane gas is actually the cause of our global warming. So I would urge you to think globally. Please think of the bigger impact that you are causing. Single action, your single action today actually are causing a more bigger impact, you know. So please think globally, act locally. And please join us.
She can run for Dun this session. I mean, like the way that she speaks, oh my God.
But excuse me,
I would
the
vote
other-
for her.
Yes.
Yes,
You wanted to add something,
the other thing about the impact of this food waste is the water pollution.
Oh, yeah.
Water
Because
pollution, yeah.
you're talking about not only
Which Selangor is very
rivers,
familiar with, water
yes,
pollution, yeah.
not only rivers but also groundwater. When you have
Yeah, groundwater.
landfills, then there is a very high possibility that the contaminants will seep into the groundwater, when actually we can use groundwater in the future if we have problems with water supply. But if our groundwater is polluted, then I think it's a big waste. Why? Because of our own actions.
Yeah, because of our own selfishness and our
Yes.
own self-thinking, basically. We're running out of time over here, but I do again want to give out chances again to, let's start with Datuk first on your last words, because our candidate for the next PRN has spoken. I'm kidding, I'm sorry. Datuk, please.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you very much to the Sinar Daily and for calling me on stage today in Wacana today. I would love to share my thoughts today to all of us, even at home. Please treat our waste carefully. To us, in KDB, waste not dirty, but waste money. It's going to cost us a lot, our taxpayer money for us to do the collection.
Yeah.
And we have to think twice when we want to spend money, when we want to buy food, particularly during Ramadan. We just buy what we require, but not what we need. And so that it's not going to be a waste when we can't finish it at home or in anywhere.
Yeah.
And basically, we have got to preserve the environment clean, so that we can live happily forever here.
Well said, well said. Okay, Cik Amril, I'm going to give you just 30 seconds. We're running out of time. Last words.
Thank you, Sinar Daily, for inviting me and also having me, giving me this opportunity to share views and ideas. My recommendation to all public, all Malaysians is be a wise consumer. Use only what you need when you need it. That's all.
Can I chip in?
Oh yeah, okay.
You
Yep.
mentioned
Please, channel.
you
Yeah,
mentioned about
yeah.
TikTok just now. So
Oh,
please follow us on TikTok. We have
Yes, please.
Gamma KL. Yeah,
All right.
you can watch us do our job right there.
There you go. Lovely, lovely. May we want to thank once again our panelists, KDEB Waste Management CEO Datuk Ramli Muhammad Tahir, together with Cik Ainul Ashara Kamal, MySaveFood Ramadan Secretary, as well as the Pemuda Gemba KL Deputy Chairman, together with Encik Amril Ayat Iko Nice, Vice President. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming
Thank you so
down
much.
on the show today. That marks the end of the show today, folks. Yes, it has been quite eventful. It is quite uplifting, actually. It is quite, food for thought, actually. Not just for the tummy, not just for your own consumption, but it's actually for your mind as well to really think about what your actions are and how it can just affect not just yourself, your family, your environment as well. So think twice, as what our panelists have said, before you do anything, and only take what you only need. Live in moderation, because that's what is needed. That's all for this episode. Hope you have enjoyed this meaningful chat that we have done, and hopefully we are able to actually see you on the next one. My name is Meor Addelan, wishing you a great iftar ahead, and Salam Aidil Fitri to everyone. Take care now. Bye-bye. Assalamualaikum.